Alert the squad. Alert the squad. Alert the squad. Alert the squad.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy big children and little. I am the novelist, poet, Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Bleu.
And I'm your girl, Lauren Keeler, aka Low-Key.
AKA Life again.
Yep, we here, we healthy.
Yes. I hope you guys are being careful out there. I hope you guys are washing your hands out there. Newsflash. I was watching a fellow, and he was very smart. And he was updating me on all of my ignorance on the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And I hate to start the Mirror of Minds podcast off on such a nasty revelation. But
we need some information.
Apparently, a lot of the spread of this thing is due to people's poor hand washing habits after they use the bathroom. And I'm not just talking number one tinkle tinkle either. News flash, just because you're not pulling out some crazy Hershey's Kiss on your fingertips, I'm gonna need you to do better.
Wet wipes?
I'm gonna need you to do better. I'm gonna need you to do better. But we're not gonna spend a lot of time on that. What are we talking about today, Lauren?
Well, speaking of the quarantine, we are discussing how that is impacting relationships, being stuck with your boo 24/7. How's that going?
Quarantine love is today's topic, and here at the Mirror of Minds podcast, now that we're developing a bit of a rhythm, Miss Low-Key, our thing that we typically do is we find a consensus online, see what the online community is talking about as far as our topic, because there's nothing new under the sun. But before then, we have gotten to the habit of, before we do anything, going into the infinite universe, which is the internet. We've been given our kind of natural responses to this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Do you have, what comes to mind when you talk about quarantine love?
Definitely just how dynamics change, and they changed overnight. You go from your normal routine of going to work and being social with people and seeing your family to having to be locked in 24/7 with not only yourself and your thoughts, but your significant other, possibly kids, and how that impacts connection and relationship. But, and I know that it is impacted quite a few people, especially there's a huge rise in domestic violence that I keep hearing about. That's really sad.
Wow, that's very sad.
Yeah.
What I think about is a couple things. Naturally, my mind, when we first were brainstorming about this topic, was a couple's first time to take a road trip. And the reason why I likened it to quarantine love is that you now have to be in this very tight quarters with somebody you obviously care about, because you care about them enough to take a road trip with them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you're in close quarters for the first time, and change is difficult for some people. Whew. And another place my mind went to was any confining, like we are forced to deal with each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Some couples, it may only be some sort of self-serving relationship dynamic, right? You know what I mean? I'm just using him for whatever he's just using her for whatever.
Exactly.
But it doesn't take that much intimate time in a closed box to together. So I also thought about the difficulties couples have when they first live together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when they went from, you know, your place of mine to now
Our place. Yeah.
right?
Right.
I thought about change. Just anytime a couple has to go through adversity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really tests the metal. So again, you know, we hope you guys are being careful out there. That whole domestic violence numbers is not sitting well with me.
It's really sad, but it's a fact, and it's not surprising because people are triggered and stressed out, and you know, if things were already bad, I'm sure they're getting worse because there's a lot of fear and anxiety there, and no outlet or escape.
Right, and to be clear, there are certainly men that abuse women, but I have known women that have whipped men's ass.
Whew.
You know what I mean? And that is a real thing. Also, abuse comes in many forms. It's not just physical, obviously. It's verbal abuse, psychological abuse, even spirit. You know what I mean? If you are with somebody that is amazingly negative, pessimistic, and you're optimistic, and you're always like, man, let's give it a go, and that person, your partner, somebody you love, is just like, we can't do that. We can't do it. And you, no matter how much you prove them wrong, I was actually in this situation. And no matter how many times you prove them wrong, like, yes, we can do it. Vow. And they're still saying can't for the duration of the relationship. And you got medals, plaques, and all kinds of achievements, relationship achievements on the wall. You're like, honey, we went platinum. What you talking about? We can't do it again. And she's just like, You know, oh my God, that'll drive you nuts.
Or that glass is half empty attitude, and you're over here like, no, it's like abundantly overflowing. What are you talking about?
Right.
You know, still, I need more. I want more, or it's not enough. That whole thing. It's just.
The world is not enough.
Yeah.
For some people.
For some, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's dig in. So now that we got the
foundation.
Well, you know, just kind of where we go. What I like to say, what do you think of it? Because everybody's ideas, we're not the same. So everybody's ideas, even everybody out there watching, you know, shout out to y'all and thank you.
Hey.
And subscribe to the channel. And if you have any ideas, you can always email Lauren and myself at info@gbleu.com.
Please hit us up with some suggestions.
If you want us to talk about something, we typically talk in the confines of romance. So if there's something you want to talk about or something you want us to explore or make light of, you know what I mean, please hit us up, and we love the input. Yeah. But today, let me get the glasses on because it's reading time. And we cited a few websites for this one because, you know, there's plenty of people with plenty of things to say. And, of course, as always, the websites that we cited for this information will be at the bottom of your screen. That being said, this is not a loop jack. This is us. This is us giving our wisdom. We are bringing meat to the storehouse.
Exactly.
We are seeing what they said. We liked what they said, but we're adding a little mirror of mind spice to it.
Spicy.
Oh, you said that pretty cool. I want.
I like spicy.
Yeah, spicy is good. As long as you can taste the food and it's not so spicy till it makes you hot.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, going to order like Thai food.
Right.
Yeah, mild, please, all day.
So the first thing we're going to look at is from a website that will be cited below. And this is 5 tips for you and your couple during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully y'all won't add to the astronomically disturbing numbers of people out there getting their whoop on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they say, why don't you read number one for us, and we'll just kind of take turns. Is that
Okay,
fair?
yeah, that sounds good.
Number one's on you.
Set aside time to have a conversation about what's going on right now. And what we're talking about, that's kind of what we were doing when we first started this episode, is talking about, obviously, there's a worldwide crisis going on. What does that mean?
Right.
Yeah, what does that mean for us as individuals, us as a collective? Is there fear, anxiety? How are we going to get through this? How are we going to support each other? Support the kids if there are kids involved.
Well, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
Lauren. How do you? I have a theory, but how do you feel that a couple talking about what's going on? How do you think that helps their kind of stir craziness inside and relationship?
I think it always helps to just speak what you're thinking and feeling so the other person knows. I was in the beginning, I was very vocal to my partner about I'm trying to make light of things and I'm smiling and I'm dancing around, but that's my way of keeping my spirit light.
Okay.
Because deep down, I'm filled with a lot of stress and fear.
Okay.
Fear about my safety, the safety of those I care about, the safety of the people I work with, what's going to happen to our nation as a whole. There's so many pieces, and I'm and I get overwhelmed and I shut down, and that's not healthy for me or anybody else.
Okay.
So it's this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, but I'm choosing to engage in behaviors that make me happy. So while I'm sanitizing everything down, I'm gonna listen to some Stevie Wonder and dance around.
All right. I feel that. I think I going along exactly what you said, to add to what you said, I believe that anytime a couple, especially in the midst of chaos, I think one of the most bonding things a couple could do is sit down and exchange wisdom. You follow what I'm saying? It gives the relationship a sense of it's us against the world.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? And you may be thinking individually, man, we're in some dark times. And he or she may be thinking the same thing. But you guys are, two minds are better than one.
Exactly.
So just having somebody, just what their take on there, and they may bring something new to the table, which is often the case. Or maybe they're just confirming a theory that you already felt, even if it's wrong. You know what I mean? I'm going to do a separate Just My Thoughts rant on conspiracy theory, by the way.
Looking forward to that.
Yes, I got some choice things to say. But man, I've never, ever seen a situation where a couple talked open and honest, that is. Open and honest, and walked away from that conversation not feeling more clarity.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I think it's a good thing to talk. That being said, there are a couple of things you probably should bring to the table with you before you talk, because it's an anxious time. You know what I mean? So my advice to all of you lovers out there is to learn how to fucking listen.
What?
Don't just wait for your turn to speak. As crazy as your lover may sound, hear them out.
Yes.
you gonna sit there and lick each other's necks, but I can't talk. You follow what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where are your priorities? Where are your priorities? You see what I'm saying?
Like, I'm more than just a pretty face.
Right, I like it when you giving me service.
Yes.
But then after that, shut up. That's no. That's not how this works. Let's move on to number 2, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, where were we at?
Number 2.
Yes, and I believe it's my turn.
It is.
Take turns expressing gratitude for what is going well in your lives. I like this a whole lot. I'm going to start on this one.
Okay.
And the reason why I like this one is because I am of the belief, I haven't proven it, but I am of the belief of you can't be upset or depressed or angry and be appreciative at the same time. Just you saying thank whoever, thank God, thank the maker,
Thank the universe.
thank the bank for giving us this loan, whatever you worship.
Thank Obama.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Whoever you want to give props to, it's hard to be gracious and be in a state of upsetness. I think just taking the time out, especially if you're a couple, and you guys want to have a exchange of blessings, you know what I mean? And you're doing that with somebody you care about. You're doing that with somebody you love. Oh shit! You may want to put something on the bed because after that you may disappear. You know what I mean? Into the back room somewhere.
Connect.
Exactly. Exactly. How do you feel about having gratitude for each other?
I think it's important for any relationship, any dynamic, but especially in a relationship, a romantic relationship, to appreciate each other and then appreciate what you've created or have together. Because a lot of people forget about that stuff. They get so focused on their career or so focused on money or so focused on others' perceptions. But it's like, I feel like it's important to step aside and say, like, damn, babe, like, I'm grateful for you.
I mean, really. And I think that number 2 also, it forces you to be appreciative of each other. Okay. A man and a woman are sitting across from each other and they listen to our podcast, they love it, and they take this advice, right? And I don't see any couple sitting there talking about, well, hey honey, what are you appreciative for? And they list everything off except their loved one. And then the guy does the same thing. It forces you to look at what's right in front of you. And if you sat there, because many of us take it for granted, right?
We do.
We take good loving for granted.
We do.
We get in when you're just being held down, when he or she is giving you all of that good loving and whatever interpretation or however they're talking to you inside of their love language, you follow what I'm saying? Whatever their love language is, they're just taking you, they're loving you down.
Yes.
You follow what I'm saying? Only thing you can do is smoke a cigarette and smile. You're like, shit, whatever, I don't need nothing. I'm good. I don't need nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we take it for granted. So I see nothing but good things.
I think it's really important for people to realize that if you have a relationship where you guys can laugh together and cry together and really just come to each other as confidants and say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, and show up for one another, then you've got it made.
Right.
It doesn't even matter like how much money you make or like how big of a house you live in or this, that, and the other. It really comes down to those simple things. Like if you don't have that, then what do you really have
right,
in a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, really. Well, and that's why the domestic violence numbers spiking up during this Corona thing bugged me out, because in my mind, now America, I could be extremely ignorant on this. In my mind, doesn't every couple have the fantasy of what if we were the last two? You see what I'm saying? Doesn't every couple have the fantasy, at least, like, okay, let me clarify. Not the fantasy of being the last two on earth. Let me clarify. When a woman is looking at a potential partner, in this respect, let's say it's a male, you know what I mean? Because we have watchers that like other things, and I respect them, but I can only speak from heterosexual perspective because that's what I am. When a female is looking for a potential partner, it is my understanding that outside of symmetry, she is looking for someone who makes her feel safe and protected. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in my mind, if you want this man to be a little taller than you, a little stronger than you, and capable and competent, then it stands to reason that at some point you at least have entertained you guys being in some sort of situation where he would need to keep you safe.
Like, what if there's a zombie apocalypse or something like
right.
that? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, The Walking Dead.
Right. And right.
Yeah,
so on the other side, you know what I mean? I know men look for women for different reasons than women look for men.
Yeah.
But some of those reasons include, we're visual creatures. We like things to look a certain way. I can't ignore the physical attributes, symmetry, and all that. But every man entertains
a nurturer.
Right. Yes. Somebody that in the event of whatever could possibly happen, that she is going to hold him down. However he sees fit that to be needed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some guys want you to be able to run the house. Some guys want you to be able to take a freaking pounding and like it. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
This is all my thinking. I could be crazy for thinking this. But in my mind, it's just like, damn, life takes us apart. She's got to go to work. He's got to go to work. She's got stuff to do. He's got stuff to do. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not saying that I like the current epidemic that's going around, but you would figure in the first month or 6 weeks of this thing that there would be some sort of more of a romantic thing. Like, damn, the first couple weeks, we locked up.
Listen.
You're about to get beat down. You know what I mean?
There's about to be a bunch of baby registries.
Right. That was my thinking. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, okay, we're sick of each other now. But I didn't think the freaking ass whooping rate would go up in the first 6 weeks.
Like that. Just like that.
Good grief, people.
I know.
Make love, not war.
Exactly. Okay. Hold each other down. Not physically.
Right.
Or emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
That's, again, I'll excuse my ignorance. You know what I mean? But I believe number 3 is your turn.
It is. Yeah. So, take some time to enjoy on your own to do something you enjoy. So you don't have to be up under each other 24/7 during this thing. Like, I think it's healthy to take space from your significant other.
I think it's real healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there might be people trying to do that, but I think there's so much insecurity in the world that insecurity might be running the day on this one. You know what I mean? Wow. I was in situations where I was working part-time, and my part-time schedule, I was off of work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I had a long week and a short week, and my short week was lovely. Because if I took Friday off, I could go to freaking Brazil and come back.
Nice.
Lady I was dating at the time was over my crib Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and never went anywhere else. So I was right. So I'm like, damn. Hon, you don't got to go to the post office. You don't got to do laundry. You don't have to pay the light bill. You don't need your oil change. You've got nothing adult to do all week. And you're just hanging under me like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so the insecurity. So, and then when I wanted to kind of, I don't know, take a walk, just, it's not that I didn't care about the person, but it was just like, I just, we are like attached to the hip. Like, I've only got these days off and you are here from sun up to sun up. She had little ones. So a part of me is like, I don't want your little ones to resent me. That surely they need some time.
Mama needs to tuck them in.
Right.
Make some lunches.
I'm like, do they not at least
do math homework?
Do they not need a forehead kiss at least? You know what I mean?
I can't be smothered either.
So again, I know that my life can be demanding and all of that stuff. But that just seemed too much. Come to find out that she was extremely insecure. And that was the reason why I would just like, anytime you're not at the JOB, I'm going to be in your face. So maybe the domestic violence rate is up because people's insecurity are coming to the forefront a little bit. I don't know how much of a role it's playing, but I'm pretty sure it's playing.
I mean, I think that's the underlying theme in most abusive relationships is insecurity and wanting to have control over another person because you don't know how to trust. Or you don't feel confident in your ability to be enough in a relationship. And I think it backfires on people a lot. And, if you're the person who feels the need to like make this person feel loved all the time, you kind of like stifle your own needs and your own feelings, and then there's some resentment that builds up with that
every time,
and then you're just like, get away from me, I can't do this anymore, like you gotta go.
Those who cannot trust can't be trusted. Period. End. So for you folks out there, be very careful before you accuse somebody. And you better know for real. I'm not talking about those feelings. And peep game. And we'll move on from here, but the Spirit is talking to me. Some people are of the notion that just because they feel it, it must be so. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just feel it. But fear does not create logical sense. All right?
No.
Let's take a person that's been beat all their life, and they was with somebody abusive, and right before the person hit them, they raised their voice. So now that relationship didn't work out. Now they're with a new relationship, and they're with a passionate guy who would never hit them. And he talks loud. He's from a loud family. As soon as he talks loud, she gets the feeling.
Yeah.
She gets the feeling like, you're going to hit me. Fear is making her come to this conclusion. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, hell, if I was freaking, if you whooped my ass too, if you went like this to brush your head, I'd be like that too. But it doesn't make you make. It's hard to be scared to make sense.
You
feel me?
What fear stands for is false evidence appearing real.
Ding, ding, ding,
so that's basically what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then now with that in mind, I know people that be like, this doesn't feel right. So that must be God talking to me.
Yeah.
I am a human being, and I am a son of many sons and daughters on this planet. But that doesn't make sense to me, and I tell you why. Why would a creature made of pure love, the personification of love itself, use fear to communicate? The opposite of love. Fear is the absence of God, not the presence of it. The more scared you are, the more God is not in the picture. The more loving you are, the more God is in the picture.
Exactly.
So people take a extremely fearful feeling, and in their mind, that can't be ego, right? Oh, I'm scared. I'm going to put that on God. God, thank you for putting fear in me. I don't agree with that. That's my belief. Not telling you what to believe.
I'm on board.
But I don't believe that an omnipotent being that can make a planet needs to scare you into doing anything.
Agreed.
You follow what I'm saying?
Agreed.
You know, if all of the around you doesn't scare the piss out of you and doesn't teach you how to live on your own, maybe I should wash my hands after I come out from taking a dose.
And I feel like there's a difference between having like fears that are genuine. You know, it's like, yeah, of course, with the situation, there's a lot of fear and anxiety.
Yeah,
I'm experiencing that too,
Okay.
but where it's really like it's not coming from anywhere. Like you're creating these negative ideas or using them as excuses for why you behave a certain way or why you close yourself off or why you do this or do that. You know, it's the fear of change, fear of growth.
Yes.
Fear of missing out, fear of losing,
Yes.
Fear of disappointment, like all of that, you know, really kind of constricts people and prevents them from living a great life.
And two people who love each other that are more scared of what's going on outside that they would like to really share or be vulnerable about could make a pretty dangerous cocktail. You know what I mean? Now we're spending all this time together. You're scared and I'm scared and we're scared together, and there's really no escape from that.
Could we talk about fear of connection though?
Ooh.
Because I think a lot of people in relationships busy themselves, you know, so that they don't really have to connect. And when you have to connect, you really have to see the person and hear the person. It brings up stuff that you don't want to deal with or face within your own self.
That's hard facts right there.
And I think a lot of people fear connecting, like truly connecting.
Low key with the freaking LU. Thank you. Yeah, that's what's up. I believe it's on you for number 4.
Actually, that's you.
Is it me? My bad. All right. Use the time to explore and expand sensually.
Ooh, getting freaky.
That's how I think we started the podcast. Was I just couldn't, in my mind, I'm just like, damn, we're whooping ass already. Like you would figure there would be a slight baby surge, and then we'd piss each other off.
Make love.
Sensuality is a very selfless act, and ladies touch your men, men touch your ladies, ladies touch your ladies, men touch your men. It is very, very, very cool, especially when you're good at it, when you know how to touch somebody, and when you come home, when she comes home, whatever, you know what I mean? I never saw, well, it does happen, but I rarely had an instance where you was massaging, you just walked up on somebody and massaged their shoulders real good. Some people can't, some people don't have the art of touch, which is weird to me because I'm just like, you don't feel that? You don't know that this doesn't feel good if you go too hard? Anyway, but if you walk up on somebody and you just really touch them really good, back, shoulders, arms, waist, whatever, bootay, you know what I mean? I you know, and you might be mean and say, get off me. You know what I mean? If you got a little attitude, that does happen. You know what I mean? But majority of the times,
You like, hey.
when you good at it, that is, because some people aren't good. But when you're good at it, the majority of the times, people are receptive to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that could just be a real icebreaker. That might open up the floor to dialogue and all of that stuff. Are you a good masseuse, Miss Loki?
I've never had any complaints. Although I'm not on Yelp, so I don't know what my star.
Actually, well, let's look up your Yelp score. Kidding.
How about yourself?
I love to touch.
Okay.
I love to touch and to be touched, and I would say that I haven't had any complaint in that area.
That's what's up.
And that's all good. Are you a sensual being, though? Are you?
I would say yes.
Okay.
As a Leo woman, definitely.
Okay.
I like to connect. I'm a hugger. I'm a kisser. I'm a flirt. I like to, tease and be teased.
Those are the qualities of a sensual person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I actually, sometimes you hit me with things I never knew. And sometimes I actually knew that one because I think it was episode 2, we was talking about something, and then you said that. You was like, yeah, I'm a Leo. I get, that's how Leos get down. And I was just like, wow, I think I even added a cat noise. It was good stuff. It was good stuff.
Insert cat noise.
Yeah, without question. So before we wrap this up at number 5, we're going to do 2 parts because quarantine love is what we're talking about today on the podcast, and how to I don't know, just expanding on tips on how to deal with each other when we care about the person that we're confined with, but we're finding whatever our personal space kind of infringed upon or whatever.
Yeah.
So we found the consensus as we usually do. We added our spin as we usually do. You know what I mean? And we're going to do part 2 because there are websites and other talking points that we didn't even get to yet.
Exactly.
So stay tuned for part 2. And if I was on number 4, I think number 5 is on you.
That's me. So they suggested that you pick a new activity to do together or one you used to enjoy in the past. So basically have some fun.
Put in the work.
Put in the work.
Put in the work.
Yeah. Schedule some time for one another.
And this one is for life. Whenever this corona thing is all said and done with, what I see with a lot of couples that get a little too comfortable is that the creativity is gone. So, people get a little comfortable. It's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? But at some point, actually, throughout intermittent times of the duration of that relationship, a little spontaneity goes a long way. And it has been my experience that if ladies love spontaneity,
Yes,
you know what I mean? You can just fellas, just you thinking of something cool to do, even if she doesn't want to do it, it will speak volumes for your effort level. Like, man, he wanted to go mountain climbing. I would never climb a mountain, but he is trying to add some spice to the relationship. And she, trust me, she will, if she's smart, she will encourage you, maybe with the sensual number 4, to keep coming with those ideas. Because even though in this example, she might not want to go mountain climbing for her own reasons, maybe she's scared of heights and I've told you, maybe you can come up with another idea.
I think it would be fun, to maybe do, I've seen really cute videos with couples where they're doing the dance challenges or kind of creating their own little club and dancing. And,
I have been seeing some pretty cool innovative things on social media. Yes.
Going for walks.
Okay.
Appreciating nature.
Right.
taking turns, like learning what the other person does
Okay.
for their job. Like,
Right.
okay, so now that we're both working at home, what's your day at the office look like
Right.
versus mine? And that kind of just, dating all over again. It's a really good time to just reconnect. And
It really is. And gosh, and we can have some fun with that, right? And we can kind of go left of center a little bit, and invite them into your world a little bit, but you got to be open to do this. So, for example, some women don't like men that are submerged in the video game all the time.
yeah.
And I so respect that. I'm not discounting that. But your value in that relationship would do good on both fronts, both people, the person who likes the video games and the person who wish they wouldn't play video games so much. There's a middle. So if one person played the video games a little less and one person started to play video games with them, not all the time, but just whatever game.
Yeah.
Because there's a million games.
There are.
You know what I mean? There's a million games. You'd be like, man, I never knew that was a game. You could do that in a game. You know what I mean?
keep button Street Fighter still.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there has to be kind of this give and take on both ends.
Exactly.
This person has to be willing to let them into that world that they kind of was dismissive of in this example, and this person has to swallow that jagged little pill and freaking get on board. I like video games, but I'm a dude. What guy doesn't like
I
some
like them
type of
too.
video game?
Yeah.
I know a lot of gamer girls, so this is not me bashing the girls because
Right.
you got some serious gamer chicks out there. I'm just saying for this example, you know what I mean, because you and I talk about romance a lot. You know what I mean? Apparently, sometimes I go to the default. And sometimes, I read the blogs or whatever,
Yeah.
and there are plenty of women out there that just like, all he does is play freaking video games. You know what I mean? And I feel it,
Yeah.
but that's why I just kind of was poking, at the gaming thing. But it doesn't mean that the games aren't loved by both sexes.
Or all they want to do is watch sports or YouTube videos or whatever the case may be. Like, I really do think it's important to do a balance of things and do something like you said your partner likes to do, but also try finding a middle ground, trying something new together, like a new recipe, venturing into a new place, of course, once the quarantine is lifted.
Of course.
Yeah, like ordering a game online and playing it together, like one especially like an interactive that maybe makes you learn new things about your partner or something like that. Doing stuff as a family with your kids.
Yes.
Like all of that.
Typically, I ask you for your final thought, and you just gave it to me. Low key with the freaking alley-oop. What I wanna add to that, and then we'll get out of here and make way for part 2, is my best advice to you, America, during the quarantine. If you find yourself in a little bit of relationship angst, is to look at each other as human beings. The reality is, with all of the people who tested positive for this thing, which I believe is in the hundreds of thousands, that if you find yourself locked in a house with the person you care about, you are extraordinarily fortunate. So let's have a human moment and recognize that the person is not a clone of you. They're not going to like everything you like. They're not going to think the way you think, but they are human. They are allowed to feel and express the same way you are.
Exactly.
So if you look at them as a human being and see yourself with some gratitude and your situation with some gratitude, I have no doubt, and I believe low-key agrees with me, that you will be not a ass-whooping statistic. God, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy big children and little quarantine love. Stay tuned for part 2.
Alert the squad. Alert the squad.